I miss the days of DCOMs where in the credits you get a song that's like weirdly about the movie.
That was clearly written for the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Can you imagine at the end of Descendants, The Rise of Red, if they're just like, nothing mattered. Everyone's fine.
Red.
Her name is Red.
They basically had a song that's like that. Yeah. But anyway. Oh.
Don't sue us for copyright.
Come on, Brink.
When we get to 13th year, let me tell you.
13th year is the best one. Y'all just wait. Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm Benji.
I'm Kelsey.
And we're the DCOM Duo, and this is our podcast.
Hooray.
And today, we're covering Brink.
Brink. There's an exclamation point.
Yes, very important.
I wonder why.
Because Brink is cool.
Brink.
And exclamation points are cool.
Honestly, this might be a little embarrassing, but I didn't know. I never watched this movie as a kid. I didn't know that was like his name.
I didn't think it was his name either until I watched it for the first time a couple years ago.
I just thought like Brink, like rollerblading. That makes sense. Like it had something to do with rollerblading.
Because it sounds like rink.
I guess so.
B could be blade or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get too far in this movie, I got to say, my biggest piece of credit for the whole thing, this whole movie, the best thing it does is it somehow makes inline skating seem cool.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How?
How?
I feel like inline skating, correct me if I'm wrong, big inline skating fans, it seems so uncool, but this movie makes it seem cool.
Yeah, this movie isn't about like skateboarders.
No, which skateboarding innately feels cool to me.
That's or even what like
says. There's skateboarding video games. There isn't inline skating video games.
Even like biking. Like
yeah, BMX feels way cooler than this.
Yeah.
All like the X Games sports, they all feel so much more rad and sick than inline skating. It feels like nerdy.
It does feel dirty.
This movie has a lovely little nerdy overtone that's overtoned by it feeling cool, which I really like that dynamic.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah. So yeah, we watched Brink. It is a pretty popular DCOM overall. We're going to get into talk about it pretty shortly.
Yeah, it was very early.
And yeah, we have a lot of thoughts on it, I think.
We do.
Yeah. So stick around. We're going to talk about it. But first, do we have any fan mail today?
No.
No, we do not.
We never have fan mail.
To be fair, we're recording this one like hours after our last episode went live, maybe we'll get...
It would make a difference.
Hey, you don't know. Maybe someone's going to respond. If you ever want to email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com, we'd love to hear from you. You can also message us on any of our other ways, YouTube comments, Spotify Q&A, etc. TikTok comments, I don't know. Anything that you think is a good way of reaching us, we'll find out and we'll talk about it. It can be about Brink, it can be about whatever our next DCOM is, any other DCOM, or anything in general. It doesn't have to be DCOM related. If you think there's something interesting, we're happy to talk about it a bit more.
Come on, Brink.
Yeah. Should we start actually talking about the movie?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do the factos first.
DCOM Duo factos.
The DCOM Duo factos. Brink released August 29th, 1998. Mm-hmm. Before either of us were born.
Yes, that doesn't happen for many DCOM.
No, as you may be able to piece by that information, this was the third DCOM.
Yes.
And
crazy.
At the time this came out, I feel very confident saying the best DCOM out of the first three.
Yeah.
Compared to Under Wraps and
You Lucky Dog.
We've now covered the first 6 DCOMs.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
We can tell you which is the best out of the 6. Go watch our mini-sode in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Like a month, probably.
Our mini-sodes where we rank all of these DCOMs that we are watching.
We will tell you which one's the best out of the 6 for sure.
So, the director of this film was Greg Beeman.
I recognize that name.
Yeah, you should. He also directed Under Wraps. He also directed Horse Sense, Miracle in Lane 2, Ultimate Christmas Present, and A Ring of Endless Light.
We've done most of those.
We have done, 3 of those.
Yeah.
We're now doing this one. We'll have 2 more. He's a DCOM classic director. And honestly, the hit rate on those films are above average.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
I feel like I would argue Brink's probably the best one out of all of those. But maybe that's an argument to have later.
Yeah, I like A Ring of Endless Light. I think Horse Sense was pretty good too. And Miracle in Lane 2 just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
He's best known for his directing and producing work. He worked on the shows Jag, Smallville, Heroes, and Falling Skies. I don't know much about him, just mentioning it here. We've talked about him already before. Mm-hmm. He also won a DGA award for Miracle in Lane 2, so good for him.
Cool.
Yeah. In our cast, we have playing Andy Brinker. Yes, Brink's not his first name, it's Andy.
His last name's Brinker, so yeah.
I mean, if his name was Brinker, it would be pretty cool.
Pretty fun.
It's Eric Von Detten. He is probably best known for playing Sid in the Toy Story films.
That's cool.
Yeah, I did not place that at all when I was watching. I was like, wow.
That was around the same time, too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Pretty close, like a year late. No, 4 years before.
Mm-hmm.
Because 95 was...
Toy Story.
Yeah. He started his role as a major Days of Our Lives character at 10 years old. He didn't play it for long.
Oh my God.
I remember asking you about it. I forgot to write the name down. But it was like the child of 2 important characters. That was like a big plot
I think it was Nikki, who I don't think I ever saw him on screen during my time watching it because they never really brought him back on screen, but they definitely mentioned him. So when you said the name, I was like, I do know that name. I do know that character.
Kelsey's our resident Days of Our Lives fan.
Expert.
Yes.
I watched for like 10 plus years, so.
And do we have any other soap opera knowledge?
I don't.
If you count Grey's Anatomy.
That's not a soap opera.
It feels like it. It runs as long. He also had notable roles in Princess Diaries, So Weird, Recess, and Escape to Witch Mountain.
Yeah, specifically Princess Diaries, he's like the hot guy love interest.
Yeah.
So pretty big deal.
And then he has not acted since a cameo in Toy Story 3. So he's like was retired from acting, except he has a new TV movie releasing this year that he's a part of.
Oh.
I couldn't find that much information about it. I don't think it's a big project or anything. Okay. But yeah, he's going to be an acting coach's nightmare. I don't know much about it. I'm just like, okay, this guy took like a 14-year break from acting. More if you don't count the Toy Story 3 cameo, which was like 2 lines.
Was that because
he's the garbage man?
Yeah, because that's Sid.
Yeah.
And so all he did was go, bam, 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 bam.
Yep. And that's all.
That's crazy.
Otherwise, he's been leaving longer since he's acted, but now he's apparently back in the game or something. I don't know. I didn't look too much into it because it looked like it wasn't a big project. So maybe it was like a friend. Yeah, I feel like as an actor, he does pretty well. I feel he's very competent as a leading man in terms of being Brink. And I think Brink's a fun character. So
I agree.
Now for the real star of the show, though. Playing the role of Val Horrigan is Sam Horrigan. Yeah,
that's not a typo?
I don't think that's a typo.
All right, I'm going to fact check you because that's a little weird. It just says Val.
All right, Wikipedia says Val Horrigan. They probably don't mention his last name.
But you would think they might because he's in a competition. But whatever. Sure.
Playing the role of Val.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Sam Horrigan. He has some roles in Little Giants. He's also in Escape to Witch Mountain with Eric Von Detten.
Reunited.
Yep. Otherwise, mostly single episode TV runs. Really not that much. And I think that's kind of a shame because he steals the show in this one. He plays the asshole DCOM villain. He sets the mold. This is the 3rd DCOM. And this is the gold standard of someone you love to cheer against. Feel like this guy's the perfect level of hateable, somewhat understandable. Like you feel like he's a real person, which is hard for DCOMs, while still being objectively like the wrong side. I feel like they write him well and he plays it well. I want to hate him. I want to punch him in the face, and I want to see him kiss Brinker. Playing the role of Gabriella DeLama is...
Sorry. I wanted to say it.
Is Christina Vidal. She was the first child actress from Puerto Rico to lead a U.S. film.
Whoa,
it was a film I had never heard of, but I'm like, wow, she was good for her.
Yeah.
She had notable roles in See No Evil and Freaky Friday, the Lindsay Lohan version.
I'm sorry. Was she the one in the band?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, she's going to be in the sequel, too.
That's incredible. I didn't know, because she's so young in this that I didn't recognize her in Freaky Friday. That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. She had a small music career. She like collabed with some big people, including like she has a collab with Will Smith, which is big. She was with Dorinda in the Cheetah Girls when she went solo.
What?
The actress for Dorinda, Sabrina Bryan. And she recently starred in the critical darling Freebie sitcom Primo. Like genuinely gets rave reviews.
Really? It's on Freebie though?
Yes, it's one of like Freebie's few shows that people are like, this is good.
I mean, hey, I love Jury Duty, so
yeah. It was recently canceled though, so don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
Well, it's like canceled like a month ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's absolutely still killing it. So good for her. Playing the role of Jimmy, that's the X-Blades manager.
Oh, okay.
I literally, this goes in such a random order. I wrote these factos before rewatching the movie, which is different how I like to do it. And I just wrote everyone down that in like casting order first, and I rearranged.
Yeah, I would not have put the manager of X-Blades above all the other kids, but sure.
Sure, why not? I'm going in a weird order. Deal with it. He had film roles in like Forrest Gump, Castaway, Contact, some actual stuff, and otherwise various TV and film roles. He's not that part of this movie. Let's move on. Playing the role of one of the kids, one of the important characters, Peter Calhoun.
He's pretty important.
Is Patrick Levis. He was also in Miracle Lane 2.
Oh.
He was the brother in that.
Oh, yes. Okay, now that you say it, I'm like 100% that's the same kid. He did really good in Miracle Lane 2, and he did pretty good in this one too. So good for you, Patrick. Welcome back to the podcast.
He was also in the Disney show So Weird, and he was also in the Nick Jr. show The Fresh Beat Band.
Cool.
We already talked about him. I'm not going to spend too much time. Yeah. Playing the role of Jordy is Asher Gold, who I could find basically no other credits for. Nothing important.
I love Jordy, though, so a shame he hasn't done anything else.
Playing the role of Boomer.
Boomer!
The X-Blades injured star.
Yeah.
Is Walter Emmanuel Jones. He's best known for being the original Black Power Ranger and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
That's cool.
He originated the role. And otherwise, lots of very minor roles on like extremely popular movies and TV shows, but no big standout role outside of being the Black Power Ranger, which is a big role in of itself. The only Disney connection of his I found is the show Pair of Kings, which came out way after this movie.
Yeah, way after.
He continues to get credits.
Okay.
Playing the role of Maddie Brinker, that's the mom.
Okay, the mom.
Is Robin Riker. We already talked about her in Don't Look Under the Bed, because I believe she plays the mom there too.
Cool.
Yeah. Best known for the sitcom Brothers, also stars roles in other sitcoms like Get a Life, Shaky Ground, Thunder Alley, The Gregory Hines Show. Just a sitcom queen. Done a bunch. Was briefly Bonnie Lockhart on Days of Our Lives, which I mentioned because we have a resident Days of Our Lives expert.
Yes, I know who that character is. I did not see her play her, but I've seen someone else play Bonnie Lockhart.
She had a longer lasting role in The Bold and the Beautiful.
Okay, probably worse than Days of Our Lives.
A bunch of other TV and film credits. The only Disney connection I found is Austin and Ally, but again...
That's way later.
Way later. Sometimes these people are just like, okay, there. You know, I feel like this earliest era of DCOM, they weren't trying to do show connections. They were just trying to actually cast these movies.
Well, this was the third DCOM. Like, they didn't have a ton of stuff going on, I don't think.
Yeah, they didn't have many TV shows.
No.
The era of Disney, this is right after their rebranding, basically, from a premium channel.
Yeah.
It was still largely based on showing old Disney footage. Original content was not the primary feature of the company. Playing the role of Kate Brinker, that's the sister, is Katie Volding. She was also in Smart House.
I definitely right away clocked her from Smart House. Like, she looks exactly the same. And how far apart were those movies?
Only like a year.
Oh, okay. That makes... I'm like, she looks exactly the same. Like, she plays the little sister in both of those movies. Is her name Katie in Smart House? Because that would be funny. Okay.
Well, funny to mention that. I only found like 10 credits of hers throughout her entire career. And her name is Katie in a majority of them. And I find that very funny to me.
She's like, I'll play this character, but only if her name is Katie.
Because it's my name.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing she was otherwise is the au pair TV films. I don't know anything about them.
Okay.
Playing the role of Ralph Brinker, the dad, is David Graff. He's by far best known for playing Sergeant Eugene Tackleberry in every single Police Academy film. That's like a 10-film franchise.
I never even heard of it.
That's on you, to be honest.
Oh, jeez, okay.
It's very popular, but it's before our times. Yeah. Decent amount of work elsewhere, but sadly, his career was shut short. He died in 2001, so 3 years after this film.
That's so sad.
He had a heart attack at his brother's wedding.
No.
Which is such a tragic way. I was very sad I had to learn that fact.
Oh, that's devastating.
Yeah.
Wow. Everyone list out the worst time to have a heart attack.
And then finally, because I wrote it down and then I really could not tell you who this character is, playing the role of Arn Worm, I'm guessing one of the members of the X-Blades, probably.
Or is it the worms he puts in the sandwich?
Maybe. Is Joey Samiran, who's probably best known for Little Giants. He has a role in that, and otherwise, not much else.
That's so funny. This is what happens when you write down facts about actors before you rewatch the movie and figure out who's important. You get
Normally,
Worm.
I have the opposite problem, where I see the list of names, I go, this person's not important, and then I rewatch and I say, they're important. I need to talk about
Or
them.
you just leave people out that like were in other DCOMs. And I'm like, you totally missed that person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if we talked about the mom being in Don't Look Under the Bed.
We did.
We did?
Yeah.
Like, we talked about her being in Brink.
Yeah. Oh.
I meant the other way. Like,
in Don't
Look Under the Bed, did we know that the mom was in Brink?
I'm
like,
guessing we did. I could pull up the notes, but I think it's better left as a surprise. The proof is left as an exercise for the viewer.
All right.
You want some fun facts about Brink?
I do want fun facts about
The
Brink.
most fun fact is this is an adaptation of a book.
It is?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
It's an adaptation of the 1865 novel Hans Brinker or The Silver Skates by Mary Mopps Dodge.
What the
That's
fuck?
a Netherlands classic book.
Oh.
Like, that's important to their culture.
That's
and,
crazy.
Relevant in a lot of ways. It's a very loose adaptation.
Yeah, I bet.
But I mean, his name in the book is Hans Brinker.
And now it's
Brink.
Andrew Brinker.
Yeah. The book is about ice skating, specifically speed skating. Not that surprising if you watch the Olympics and you heard Netherlands. And it was really like the story that when it got localized to America made speed skating a thing in America. Kind of an interesting concept about that. So it was doing what Brink, the movie, does for inline skating to America. Making it popular, making it cool. The novel follows the boy Hans Brinker. He's trying to save monies to buy big skates to win a race. But before he's able to do that, his dad needs surgery. So he saves a bunch of money and donates, instead of buying the skates, he donates it to his dad to get the surgery done. But the surgeon says, no, that is incredible. I'm just going to do the surgery for free. You go get the skates and do that. He loses his race because he drops out to help a friend win. His sister wins the girls' race, and then they win the silver skates. That's what the whole book is about. It's trying to win the trophy that has a silver skate on it.
Cool.
So that's kept into the end of this movie because the ending shot is holding a trophy with a silver skate on it.
That's cool.
Then they somehow they find that the dad has like lost treasure and their family becomes wealthy again. I was doing a Wikipedia read through. I'm like, that just kind of feels random, but okay.
I feel like they don't need the ending where they become wealthy again, and they could have just ended it with they won the race. But sure, that's cool. I like this adaptation then, where Like they kind of kept in the surgery where like the dad was out on injury.
From what I can tell, it's like just very much. It took the 2-sentence summary of the plot and applied it, and I'm cool with that type of adaptation.
I'm cool with that, especially for like a really old, famous story from another country that's almost like folklore, but it's not.
Yeah, so that's fun. The second fun fact and final one I have is that Brie Larson auditioned for the role of Katie Brinker.
What?
And
love
lost
her. I love Brie Larson though. Well, joke's on you, Katie. Brie Larson won an Oscar.
I feel like Katie did pretty well in this film. Not sure Brie Larson would have done better. If I'm being honest, there's not much you can do with the role, and I thought Katie kind of killed it.
Katie did kill it. We're gonna see Brie Larson in another DCOM.
Brie Larson is in a DCOM, so we don't have to worry about like this was our one chance to have Brie Larson in a DCOM, and she's fine in that one.
Cool. You ready for the Disney Plus description?
Give me that Disney Plus description.
Andy Brinker is the best inline skater at the beach. He and his fun-loving crew, the Soul Skaters, have a fierce rivalry with the corporate-sponsored X-Blades, whose cocky captain covets Brink's talent. When a spot on the X-Blades opens up, Brink feels compelled to take it, hoping to help his family with the money he'll earn. But his friends resent his betrayal, and the competition gets personal when the X-Blades captain resorts to sabotage.
That's a fine description. There's two things I'd like to say. Number one, cocky captain covets. Kind of a bar. Love that line.
His cocky captain covets, yeah.
It flows very well. I appreciate. Second of all, Kelsey had to write like a hyphen on 5 different lines.
There was so many like dashes and so many quotes because it would be like Brinker, and the names of the teams, the Soul Skaters, the X-Blades, and
so
there's always a dash.
Punctuation, not pronunciation.
Like it was a bitch to type out because I just typed it out before we watched the movie. So I hope that was worth it for y'all.
Yeah. So otherwise, no real complaints.
Yeah, no, that's a totally fine description. I think it summarizes it well. All right, you ready to jump into the movie?
I am ready to smart house into the movie.
Hell yeah. We open up. Brink!
It immediately starts with the text on screen.
And it's such an ugly font, too.
It's very much futuristic, like Back to the Futuristic, if that makes sense.
And it was very early DCOMs just be like, here's the title of the movie. So we see some rollerblades in a bedroom. We see Brink getting ready for the day. He goes down for some breakfast, but instead of eating a real breakfast, he just squirts some chocolate syrup in his mouth.
Ew. Look, I love chocolate syrup.
You do? I'm surprised you're grossed out by that.
Chocolate syrup on its own seems nasty. Imagine swallowing it.
What a good breakfast.
I mean, I've had worse breakfasts.
I wonder what breakfast he skipped. If it was a good one.
I think he took like a granola bar.
Did he? But like, did his mom make breakfast that was actually better?
I don't think we saw one that was sitting out.
I don't think so. I think it was like a grab your own breakfast, and he's like, chocolate syrup, thanks. And the dad's was like, oh, he's crazy. And
yeah, the dad's like, no kid should be that happy.
Yeah, he says it again later, but it's the last day of summer, so he's got to go. He runs out to the beach, and for some reason, he's like running on foot. Like, he's going to the bus stop. I'm like, why doesn't he rollerblade? I guess
because you're not allowed to have your skates on.
Yeah, so why put them on if you're just going to take them off?
Yeah.
When I wrote that down, I didn't know they were going to get on a bus. I'm like, why isn't he rollerblade? Okay, so his friends are waiting for him at the bus, and they're at the bench, and they're like, oh, he's late. And then the bus drives right by, and they're like, great, we missed the bus. Why didn't the bus stop?
The bus should have stopped, even if they said, no, we have to wait for our friend.
Even, like, I'm surprised it didn't stop, and they go, yeah, sorry, we can't get on, our friend's like here. But they were kids sitting on a bench that is supposedly the bus stop.
Yeah, no, the bus driver messed up.
It's because they weren't waving it down.
It's because they weren't standing.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
Maybe the bus driver was having a bad day.
Yeah. But while they're waiting for Brink, they're like, why is he late? Maybe he got hit by a car.
That would be
Damn.
sad.
Or maybe he got kidnapped by aliens.
That would also be sad.
That'd be sad.
But a little fun, too.
Yeah. But anyway, Brink shows up right after the bus drives by. So if the bus had just stopped, they all could have made it because Brink was running. So I don't know. I'm just mad about it. It really doesn't matter.
Maybe the bus was too far behind.
Yeah, they're like, gotta skip these dumbass kids on the last day of summer, too. So Brink shows up with his rollerblades and they're like, we missed the bus. And he's like, no worries. We're going to rollerblade to the beach. And the friends are like, what? No, it's too far. Jordy especially is saying like, no, it's too far. And Brink goes, Jordy. When you woke up this morning, did you tell yourself, today I'm going to talk or today I'm going to skate?
Jory's like, oh, I'm gonna skate, you know.
Skate. This is just Brink having like the best attitude about everything in life.
Brink is such a happy little golden retriever.
He is.
For the majority of this film.
Yeah, he really is. Maybe I think a Labrador retriever, I think is a better way to describe Brink. Okay, so then they skate to the beach. And by skate, I mean rollerblade. They are on rollerblades. And it's the last day of summer vacation. Wow, they're so cool.
They do all these like little tricks and go off of parking lots and stuff. And I'm like, it feels like a skateboarding video game. I was into skateboarding video games. I was a Tony Hawk fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, it's always fun to see people get these sick grinds. I'm like, this is inline skating. It's kind of cringe, but also, look, again, if you're an inline skater, don't hate me. I'm just saying from the outside, it feels way cornier.
Yeah.
I don't know why, if you think about it.
It just does.
But it's just, I think the fact that it's like skateboards feel like you're doing something. Blading feels like you're having stuff attached to your feet for no real reason.
But like ice skating's like that.
But ice skating, there's like, it's a better way to get across a surface you can't really walk on.
Yeah, I guess so. Brink is like, come on, guys. And Gabrielle is like, stop saying guys all the time. I'm not a guy.
Yeah, pull a full Jeff Probst.
Yeah, Jeff Probst be like, saying guys is sexist. I'm going to just say, come on in from now on.
Gabriella fully agrees.
Gabriella agrees. This happens throughout the whole movie where she's like, I'm a girl.
What's kind of weird about it is, and it's completely fine, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, but it feels like this is a weird point for her to latch onto, considering some of the other stuff that she doesn't latch onto.
Yeah.
But whatever.
She just like wants the acknowledgement that she's a girl.
Yeah, which is
totally fine. Yeah. And like she doesn't want to be treated like one of the guys. She wants to be like, yes, you are a girl and you're cool and can do all these things that guys can do too. And you're a girl.
Side note, I feel like in this whole movie, there's basically no romantic interaction with her.
Like anyone except for Val and Brink, but
yeah, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, no, nothing with Gabriella, which is good because that's so not the point of the movie.
Yeah, which I love. I love that the movie decided to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so they make it to the skate park, which is like at the beach. And they do some sick tricks on the little ramps and stuff. So.
Anytime we don't mention it, just know they're doing little jumps and grabbing their feetsies and doing little grinds.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool.
Another side note, they have to have been using stunt doubles for this. I assume they have to have for a lot of this. But
yeah, maybe.
But they do a really good job of hiding it for the most part.
I couldn't tell at any point if it was a stunt double, so
good for them. Maybe
they did just learn how to rollerblade pretty well.
And maybe the tricks that they're doing are just really easy and they're not telling us that. But they do a good job. As a sports movie fan, that's something I always try and pay attention to is how good are the action scenes. And these ones are very much adequate.
They're pretty good. Brink is like coaching them a little bit. So he's like, oh, that was an ill grab, man. Jordy, that was sweet, man. Gabriella, watch that back leg.
Yeah, he's the leader of the team.
He's the leader. He gives everyone pointers. And then Inline Magazine comes over to do a photo shoot and report on some rollerblading.
Or like they send a little town scout out to find.
Yeah, they're like, whoa,
story.
look, that guy's from Inline Magazine. And Brink's like, well, let's show them what soul skating's all about. And they're like, whoa, look at us. But the guy's not paying attention at all. And then another team comes in. It's the rival gang.
Oh, no.
Team X-Blades. And X-Blades is spelled BLADZ, also X.
Can you tell this movie was a 98 movie?
Yeah. Brink's like, no worries. Let's just do what we do. And then Pete wipes out.
Yeah, poor Pete.
Pete, what the heck? X-Blades judges him for wiping out, but Brink is supportive. And the magazine's like, we want to take pictures in the pit, which is like where all the ramps and stuff are. And they're like, but Brink and the gang are losers and they're hogging it.
They acting like it's their own pit because they got there first.
Yeah. So then Val's like, I got this. And then Brink is like doing a little jump and Val just like pops out and
pops
scares
out right
him.
in front of him and it's like, whoa, Brink didn't see you there. And so Brink falls.
Yeah. And then they taunt Brink.
Notably, he falls outside of the pit.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they all kind of go off to the side of the pit and they're like shit talking and stuff. And Brink's like, we had the pit first. And Val's like, well, too bad because we're here now. Tweet steal C, it's ours now. You didn't quack
spot back. Yeah.
So, and while they're like, you know, these two gangs like beefing with each other,
getting in each other's face,
it is like the nerdiest thing to be beefing about. Like, guys, reality check here. They're rollerblading, and they're like these two gangs of rollerbladers, just like, this is our territory.
Again, I respect this film for somehow making this seem cool.
Yeah, they do.
This is very nerdy and silly. You're allowed to enjoy things, and I enjoy things too. We watch 120 DCOMs.
Yeah.
This is like,
it's just silly, and it's
silly.
funny. It's funny because they're just like so wrapped up in their little bubble of like rollerblading that this is like very serious to them, you know. All right, so then they leave, you know, the Soul Skaters, that's our good guy gang. Brink goes over to some other guys that are skateboarding like on a different little area, and he's like, hey guys, can I ask you something? All skateboarders aren't really wusses, are they?
His team goes like, whoa, man,
what?
Man,
and
what?
The skateboarders are like, what the fuck? And he's like,
you want to go?
They all can't be no talent, no skill wannabes, right? Well, that's what that guy over there said about you.
Points out Val.
Yeah. So then the skateboarders are like, what? He said that? All right, let's go. So then the skateboarders go over to like beat up Val, and Brink's like, fucking got you.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Not gonna lie.
It's pretty good. All right, so then the next morning, we're back at home. Brink comes down and says, yo, what's up, fam?
Very modern phrase, honestly.
It is. It really is. He's just happy all the time. And this is when Dad's like, it's not this normal to be happy on the first day of school. I hate my son.
The dad is a very complex character if you dig into it, and very not if you don't. He's very just... I don't like that he's happy. I don't like that he's sad.
Yeah, and like, I think it's supposed to be like he's kind of
old, hard to open up.
Well, even like he's kind of joking about it of like, oh, I don't understand a word he's saying with all the slang, and why is he so happy? Where it's like not supposed to be taken seriously, but I think his delivery of it is like, I do take it seriously, so it makes me not like him at first. But he gets
might
better.
Just have that deadpan humor, and the family probably knows it.
Yeah. The dad gets better by the end of the movie, but yeah. So Katie, the little sister, Kate, whatever they call her, she hates school, and Dad's like, see, that's normal.
That's my normal kid.
Yeah. And then Brink goes to school. He meets up, he goes, what's up, Pete and Jordy? And they're like, yo, you hear what happened with Gabriella?
I can't even mention it.
I can't even mention it.
So terrible.
It's horrible. And then she shows up wearing a dress.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how horrible.
How terrible.
She's really pissed about it.
Yeah.
Her mom made her wear it.
But Brink's like, yo, you look fat.
Yeah, you look fat, as in PHAT, fat.
There was a brief moment when people could just say that.
That's so weird that was a thing, but it was. And then Val comes over to like talk more shit, and he steals Pete's shoes. And, you know, they're pissed at the Soul Skaters for the whole skateboarding thing. And they throw Pete's shoes up on like
electric wire.
Yeah, an electrical wire. So it's like way stuck up there. And then they leave, and
he's like, hey, you if you tell on me, we'll all know you're a wuss.
Yeah, you're a wuss. And then Gab, they call her Gab or Gabriella. They never call her Gabby, which I feel like is the natural nickname for Gabriella, but sure, Gab. She's like, all right, Pete, you can use these shoes. You see, I was gonna change into some normal clothes, but here you go.
Yeah, she still changes into normal clothes, just she keeps her feet.
Yeah, I feel like that's totally reasonable to do. Yeah. But yeah. Brink is like, yeah, Soul Skaters, nothing we can't do. We're best friends.
Yeah, Brink's like, I love my friends.
I love my friends so much.
I love skating. This is all that there is in life. I'm happy.
Yeah. Now in class, they're learning about worms.
Yes, they love worms.
It's very boring. Oh, and I was like, I recognize that teacher from somewhere, and I never looked it up. I'm going to look it up.
Can't wait for it to be nothing.
He was in Even Stevens movie. He was in Read It and Weep, and he was in Under Wraps, and Miracle in Lane 2, so get fucked.
Wait, is that 5 DCOMs?
Oh, and Horse Sense.
Wait, did we just find the DCOM king? Wait.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Wait, read that again.
All right. So Brink.
Mm-hmm.
Horse Sense.
Mm-hmm.
Miracle in Lane 2.
Sure.
Read It and Weep.
Okay.
Under Wraps, and the Even Stevens movie.
That's 6 distinct DCOMs. We have never had that.
Damn.
None are in a series. I mean, I don't think he plays a major role in them, and that's probably a caveat that we should add. Because, like, in this movie, he has, what, like, one line?
Yeah, he's a science teacher. I just looked, Miracle in Lane 2, he was the announcer. I don't know who he is in Horse Sense.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was like a producer for
like,
Disney Channel.
He must be. I think he's the dad in Even Stevens. Because he's in the show, too.
Mm-hmm.
Stevens. Stevens. I don't know. I don't know Even Stevens well enough to tell you. But yeah, that's where I recognize him from. Oh, I think he's definitely the dad in Read It and Weep.
Gotcha. Interesting. What's his name?
The actor?
Mm-hmm.
Tom Virtue.
Tom Virtue? You may be the DCOM king.
You may be. I knew I recognized him. I'm glad I looked it up.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Those are the type of people I wouldn't look up because, again, they have one line.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you at all. It was just when we were watching it, I'm like, he looks familiar. And I was right. All right. So Brink, he's there with his whole gang. He's like, I have a plan to deal with Val. And then he points at the worms. Ooh. So at lunch, they have this whole plan. Jordy goes over to the X-Blades and he spills his milk all over their table.
This plan is very well laid out.
It is, because they're best friends, Benji. They're the Soul Skaters. So Jordy spills his milk and they're all distracted with that. Gabby like swipes Val's sandwich. And Val doesn't notice. They put worms into his sandwich and then sneak it back next to him. And then Val just opens up the like wrapping from the sandwich and just takes a big old bite without looking at it. Because why would he think anything's wrong?
Yeah.
There's worms in it. It's pretty gross.
It is a lot of worms. It is not a minor amount of worms.
It's not a minor bite either. He just straight up chomped that worm sandwich. And everyone goes, ew. Or yeah, maybe I just wrote
he reacts and spits everything out.
He has to spit it all
and causes a little commotion.
And then a teacher comes over and she's like, Val, what's the problem? And each one of the Soul Skaters holds up a piece of paper and it says, don't be a wuss.
Yeah.
So he says, nothing. I just thought I saw a bug or something. And the teacher says, well, get over it. Which is so funny. And then Val storms over the Soul Skaters. He's like, That's it. Right now, we're going to go fight.
They're going to go fight. They go have a fight.
So then they transition and one random kid goes, fight, fight. Come on, guys, check it out.
That's me. I would be like that.
Fight.
And they love doing their little shit talks with each other.
Talking. By the way, when like Brink and Val are beefing, they get so close to each other.
Yeah. I was going to mention this later. This whole movie's the big dynamic is Val versus Brink.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole movie, their heads are closer together than they need to be, which really just puts on... We're not the most gratuitous gay shippers. This is a very well-known fan.
Yeah, a lot of people point this out.
I feel like I didn't mention this. This is like a very beloved movie.
Oh, yeah.
When I tell people about Brink, or that I've watched every DCOM, this is one of the ones I get talked about the most, which is interesting to me.
That's so crazy to me because I literally never watched it or even really heard of it as a kid.
And that might be a boy-girl thing.
Maybe.
You know?
It might be, yeah.
Because this is definitely a rarity for a DCOM to really be advertised more towards boys.
Sports.
Yeah, there's sports DCOMs, but even a lot of the sports DCOMs have like a female lead, you know?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of DCOMs have female leads.
A lot of DCOMs, I feel like the Disney Channel, there was a whole problem with like their marketing and stuff. Not problem's the wrong word for it, but it is a known thing that they had a larger female audience to male audience. But this is one where I think that kind of goes against, but there's also just like the counterculture aspect of everything. Brink's one that's remembered fondly by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I get it.
It's pretty fun. Okay. So, yeah, they're like shit talking. Val says, I would like to beat you up, like as much as I would like to. We're gonna race instead.
Yeah, it was Boomer's idea. Let's go race.
Let's go race. Yeah, Boomer says we should go race because Boomer's secretly a good guy. So Val says, if you win, we're going to stop giving you beef. But if you lose, it's like open season on your butts.
What I don't get is, I don't get the gain for this. It's like, okay, if you win, there's a truce. And if I win, we get to keep going on you. But you're probably just going to gonna go on you too, you know? It's gonna go both ways.
I think Brink understands that.
But like, it's like, if we win, I get truce. I feel like you could just have a truce. But
it's Val being like, we obviously have the upper hand. Yeah. So, which is dumb. And they're like, but there's no skating allowed in school. And Val's like, you gonna be a little bitch? And Brink's like, I ain't no little bitch. Let's skate right now. So it's like a big deal that Brink is breaking the rules here. He's like, we're going to race him eventually anyway. It might as well be now. I would say no, we can just do it after school somewhere else, but it's also pretty fun that they go around the school. So whatever. It's a relay race. So they have their teams going against each other, relay style. They like set up this whole track around the school. It's pretty fun. Gabby starts the race. Sorry, not Gabby, Gab. Or Gabriella. She starts the race and there's another kid there. I wonder if that's Worms or... Yeah.
It's Team X-Blade's start of the relay.
Yeah, and she gets a little like kind of flirty comment of like... It's like,
that's what I like in a guy.
Yeah, that's what I like in a guy. And he's like, oh. And then she starts and so she gets a little like head start using her feminine charm. And it's really fun, like little relay. They have like... garbage cans and stuff knocked over, so they have to jump over them, and it's pretty cool. Everyone like in the school is there watching. They like are lined up along the track, so everyone heard about it, I guess. Like, and
no teacher got called.
No,
no. First off, no one's a snitch.
No one's
a
snitch.
That's pretty fun. But like, there was the whole cafeteria there when this got announced. How is there not a teacher watching?
So this is like lunchtime. Shouldn't there be teachers monitoring them? Or lunch lady or something?
Yeah, maybe.
During the race, Boomer from the X-Blades wipes out pretty bad. And Brink, instead of like keep going, he goes back to check on him. So.
Yeah. Brink, really, when someone gets hurt, he's like, everything stops. We gotta talk.
Yeah. So then we cut to Dad driving Brink home, and he's pissed off because Brink is suspended for the rest of the day. And Brink's like, but Dad, we had to battle. And Dad's like, I hate my younger generation, son. And then the car starts to smoke, and the dad is so mad he hits the car. Like, that's gonna help. At home, Mom and Dad talk about all their money problems. The dad has a bad back. He had surgery for it.
We find out exactly what it is later. His dad fell off a construction beam. He works as a construction site manager.
Now he's out on disability for like a few months. He's been out.
But now he's able to walk again, so he's asking for his job back, but he hasn't been promised it back.
The mom's a realtor, so like she doesn't have any money coming in until she sells a house.
So it's very like up and down, and she hasn't been showing houses much lately. So it's a rough moment for them.
Yeah. And the mom's like, hey, it's okay. I'm just like glad you're in better health at all. So don't worry, we're going to be okay. And Brink, we see, has been listening in the whole time. He was
peeking from behind the stairwell.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow, my family needs money. I'm going to do something about it.
All right. So then the next day, our Soul Skater kids are talking about like being in trouble. Jordy says like all my parents did was just sit and stare. And just sit and stare. And if I hadn't left, like, I don't know, I left, they might still be sitting and staring at the wall. And then Pete's like, I hate my stepdad.
We don't learn that much about Pete's personal life, but it's just, my stepdad kind of sucks. He's more of a Jerry than a dad.
And then Gabriella's like, at least you have two parents. And he's like, really, I only have one because I hate my stepdad. But I'm guessing Gab doesn't have a dad.
I mean, we see her mom later, so.
Yeah. All right. So then X-Blaze show up to talk shit. What else is new?
Val just comes up. And Val's, again, the actor for it, the writing for it, everything's great. He just seems like this giant douche.
Yeah.
But he's very fun with it.
And like secretly he's in love with Brink, and you can't tell me he's not. So they show up and they're like, so Boomer's hurt, out for a couple weeks, and we have an open spot on our team for the Invitational. But none of you guys get to try out because we hate you. So that's why we're here, to not invite you to try out. And they're like, we don't even want to be on your stupid team.
X-Blades is dumb.
And he's like, you don't get it. Being a sponsored skater is really cool. I get all new equipment. I get magazine shoots. All
paid for me.
I get money. I get money.
Now, Brink, how's that sound?
How's that sound, Brink? Think about that, Brink. And then he like walks away. And Pete's like, we don't care about all that. We skate for fun, right, Brink?
Yeah, we skate for the soul. We're the soul skaters.
We're soul skaters. And Brink's like, yeah, totally. And then Val says, why is it that the losers always say they're in it for the fun?
Great line. Love that from a villain.
That was good. And then as the X-Blades are walking away, his little teammates are like, do you think he'll show? And Val's like,
he'll show.
Yeah, you know it. So he did all of that to try and bait Brink into trying out for his team.
Love it. No notes.
Freaking love it.
No notes.
It's so good. All right. So now we're rollerblading again. The Soul Skaters are having fun, but Brink's mind is elsewhere. And Pete kind of sucks some more.
Yeah, he keeps his whole arc is he's trying to do this 540.
Yeah.
And he can't do it.
Is that like a 540 spin?
Yeah.
Like you do a couple rotations and...
Yeah. A rotation and a half. Oh, I think it's at a specific height level.
Okay.
Because in the final competition, we see him do a 720 and it's completely glossed over.
Yeah. So Brink falls and they're like, Brink, why'd you fall? That's out of character for you. What's up? And he's like, nah, I'm fine, but I gotta go. I got a family thing. And Gab's like, but the Invitational... Like, we gotta practice for the Invitational.
Brink's like, you guys practice. I'm the best one.
Yeah, you guys keep working on it, and I'll work on my own on some solo stuff. See you later. They're like, okay, that's kind of weird. So then Brink goes to the X-Blades tryouts. What? There's some cool bladers in there. They're all just kind of rollerblading around, and Val is like standing above all of them in the middle of the rink. It's pretty funny, and he's like unimpressed, and Val's like, all right everyone, I got your numbers down, I'll let you know if you made it, bye. And then one of the teammates says, too bad your secret weapon is a no-show. So like, not only was Val trying to get Brink on his team, he was telling all of his teammates like, we're gonna get Brink and he's gonna be good.
Well, I like how when we see the X-Blades, we kind of get that reverse dynamic of it where we see that Val's not this cocky. The team isn't groveling at his feet, despite the fact that he is the star of the team.
Yeah, he's the captain and he is the best amongst them. Yeah. And then Brink comes in and Val's like, told you so, but play it cool, guys, play it cool. Brink's like, hey, if I'm on the team, how much do I get paid? And they're like, it's like $200 a week.
$200 a week and $200 bonus every competition we win.
Yeah. And Brink's like, okay, well, literally I'm only here for the money. And Val's like, well, maybe you shouldn't be here anyway. Go soul skate out of here. And Brink's like, fine. And he starts to leave.
Val's like, shit.
Val's like, shit. Oh, wait. You got 30 seconds to impress me.
So Brink blades it up.
He blades it up. He's so cool.
By the way, we haven't mentioned it. There's a lot of ska in this movie, and I love it. Not all the music hits. Sometimes it's just a little weird.
Sometimes the tonal change with the music is so weird. I'll point it out later, but yeah.
But sometimes it's just like fun little ska music, light rock.
It's pretty fun. All right, so Brink made it on the team, but he's like, don't tell anyone. It's just for the invitational because then you'll have Boomer back and it'll be fine. And Val says, all right, we won't say anything, but you have to be at every practice and you got to show me some respect from now on in public.
Stop making fun of me in front of your friends.
And otherwise he'll like tell them.
Yeah.
Cool. So then they have a little scene where they're talking with like the manager of the X-Blades, and Brink, he's like, you ready to go big for X-Blades? And Brink's like, I'll go as big as you want. He's like, I love this guy.
Jimmy's like, you're going to go big. You're going to be a star.
You're going to be a star.
You're going to be a superstar.
I love you, man. I'll also get your parents' permission. He's like, yeah, totally. They're cool with it. All right.
Also, you're not allowed to compete unless you're Team X-Blades.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So then Brink makes it home with all his new equipment, and Katie's like, you have more stuff in your backpack than when you left. That's sus.
Brother.
And he's like, it's none ya business.
Oh,
and then Katie goes, ha! And then like goes on with her business. Like, good. That was a good one, actually.
I'm telling you think Brie Larson could have delivered that as well?
No. And then Brink goes and like hides his new stuff, and he's like, what am I doing?
He has all these emotions. He's never known emotions. He's been happy-go-lucky his whole life.
Now he's dealing with stress and money problems.
That night, Brink is like not eating his food.
He's distraught, and he's like, hey parents, maybe I should get a job. And the mom's like, no, you don't have to get a job. And the dad's like, whoa, this is a good idea. You should get a job. What kind of job? And Brink's like, well, some kids make money like skating with sponsors. And Katie's like, I thought you just skated for fun.
Do you mean like the soul skaters? You tell us all the time you're like so not a sellout.
Yeah, you're not a sellout, but now he wants to be a sellout.
This is why our podcast will never have ads. Actually, we will sell out the minute we possibly can.
Yeah, and he explains, like, I could make some really good money on it, but Dad's like, no. You already spend all your time skating. I don't want you spending even more time skating. He's like, what was this kid suspended for again? What was it? Skating?
Oh, yeah. He's skating.
Yeah, so, yeah, he's like, no. That night, Brink is on the phone with Pete, and Pete is talking like, oh yeah, we did this skating thing and it was really fun. It just like wasn't the same without you. You're the captain of our team. You should be there. And Brink keeps trying to be like, I gotta tell you something. Yeah. But Pete's stupid stepdad keeps yelling at him, so he doesn't get to say what he wants to say. As if he was actually gonna tell him. Like later he's like,
I think he was gonna tell him.
But then later he changed his mind. He's like, I can't tell him.
I'll go through this whole thing. I think at this point he was fully gonna tell him because it's way easier at the very beginning to just say, hey, I'm joining Team X-Blades for 2 weeks. Get a couple $100 and help my family out with some car issues.
For real, like if he was just very upfront with his team, they might have understood. They probably would if they're like good friends.
Yeah, they may have been a little annoyed with certain aspects of it, but also they would have gotten it. It's how long he takes it, and it's where this movie's actually kind of realistic about it.
Yeah. And it would have meant too that he can't compete with them for Invitational.
Which would have sucked.
That would have sucked. And that's what happened. So we'll get there. Right now, we're in a cooking class. And Jordy is like a little chef. He has a hat. And he's like the best one at it. I like Jordy.
You really like Jordy.
He's
Every
so
time
fun.
he came on screen, you're like, I like Jordy.
I like Jordy. And I love Brink too. He's a good leader, at least for most of it. Brink says, hey guys, you ever notice that baking a cake is a lot like friendship?
I love this because he's been thinking for like an hour of how he's going to explain something and he comes with a terrible analogy.
This is why I love Brink. He's just like, he's always like, guys, we're such great friends, right? So baking a cake's a lot like friendship. Sometimes even after all this work, the cake doesn't turn out like you thought, but it still tastes good. And they're like, you're tripping, Brink. You're on something. And he's like, there's something I need to tell you about the Invitational. But they just are like, we're going to be fine, Brink. Don't worry about it.
We're going to have all of our tricks in order. I'm going to hit my 540. We going to be good.
So maybe I was being too hard on Brink because he actually is trying to tell them and they're just not listening.
I think he changes after this interaction.
Maybe.
Which is coming up.
Val comes in and he's like, how's training going, guys? And they're like, shut up, Val. And he's like, being an Onyx Blades is pretty cool. And Gab's like, you're a jerk. And Val looks right at Brink and he
walks right into his face.
He's like,
goes head like kissy mode.
You think I'm a jerk?
Think I'm a jerk?
And Brink's like, And Val goes, I asked you, do you think I'm a jerk? And Brink says, no. And Val's like, what was that? What'd you say? And Brink's like, you're not a jerk. And then he says, thank you. See you this afternoon, Brink. Which, that's breaking your agreement. You can't say see you this afternoon, Brink.
That could mean a bunch of different things, but...
Well, they are like, what do you mean this afternoon? And he's like, Brink's like, I don't know. That guy's weird. But also the power trip Val is on.
I love it.
He's in love with Brink.
I love how dominant he is.
Yeah, it's cool. It's crazy. Are we sure this is a kid's movie?
I would say after this whole conversation that he had in home ec, he had a chance again to like tell his friends. His friends were listening to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about with this afternoon thing, and I don't want to give in. Like, he's not worth this."
Yeah,
and he decides, I think, at this point in his brain, where it's just like they hate him, they hate Val.
Yeah.
If I can just get through this without them knowing, that's just going to be easier than going through and trying to tell them and have them always look at me different for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Which is incorrect, but a logical, like, there's no leap in logic. So I appreciate the writing.
Cut to Brink training with the X-Blades. Everyone that's not Val is like, yo, Brink, that was rad. Like, you're such a good skater. But then Val talks some more shit. But Brink, like, he's good at clapping it back. He was always good at, like, clapping back at Val. And then Val says, hit it again. Like, go run what you did again. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no. Val's like, go do it again. Do it or vacate.
Skate or vacate.
And then Brink goes over and does it again. And Val says, good doggy.
My God, the power.
Meanwhile, the Soul Skaters are like wondering where Brink is. And then Brink finally shows up. He's 2 hours late. They're like, what the heck? You're late. And he's like, sorry, I had a family thing. And they're like, hey, did you hear that Val replaced Boomer? And Brink's like, oh, yeah, I heard it was just like a really big guy, like a Native American guy, I think.
He's like Korean or Native American or something. I don't know why he's doing this sort of lie.
I don't know.
Sure.
Just to be like, it's not me. And they're like, well, whatever. Whoever this guy is, at least we have Brink because we just got to work twice as hard.
Yeah, he's not as good as our Brink.
Yeah, our Brink would never betray us. At home, Brink, he gets home that night. He's so tired. And Dad's like, what's up? Too much skating? And Brink's like, too much? Me? No way. And Dad's like, well, I got you a job at the dog groomers.
Woo!
And
I remember he left his family saying, okay, I won't do skating, but I will get a job. So
yeah,
completely right for the dad to do this.
Well, you should let your son get his own job.
Yeah, but like he likes the idea. He's pushing him forward.
Yeah. And Brink's like, but I don't know anything about animals. And Dad's like, you babysit Katie. It's close enough. Jesus. Ooh. And Brink's like, I don't have time. Why? Because of skating? And Brink's like, oh, no, not because of skating. Oh, when do I start? So now he's going to work at the groomers in the afternoon and skate for X-Blades and skate with his friends.
So he's suddenly a very busy man. Plus the homework and stuff. So we get a whole montage of a day of him doing all of those things. He goes to the dog groomers. He skates with X-Blades. He skates with his friends. He gets home at 7 p.m. and he like tries to do schoolwork, but he's so tired. Like this poor kid. Yeah, he's starting to get really sleepy. Yeah. Notably, he does not really change any of these habits, but he's going to be fine with it later.
Yeah. All right. Next day, Pete comes in to Brink's room. Brink is sick in bed. And Brink's like, I can't do the invitational. I'm too sick. And Pete's like, hey, no worries. Like, we don't need the invitational to qualify for like the championship. Like, it's just an invitational so they can miss it. Mm-hmm. Brink is faking being sick.
Yeah. He has Pete go away and he sprays some water on his face. He's fine. How rude.
And Pete's like, it's okay. We're going to go down and check it out anyway. And Brink goes, no, I mean, you guys should session instead, like practice up for the champion tournament. And Pete's like, okay, I trust you. You're the boss. So now it's time for the invitational. We get some really cool vibey slow-mo skating. This is where like one of the times the music just totally changes and it's like,
it's like a whole slow jam.
It's so weird. Val is freaking out that Brink isn't there yet, but then Brink finally shows up and he's wearing sunglasses because he's like trying to cover his face a little bit. Mm-hmm. And Val goes, what's up with the shades? And he goes, it's a look. Nothing wrong with a look. Val, well, that look of yours better come with some skating attached. And he's standing really close to Brink.
Yeah, it's just cheek to cheek.
Meanwhile, Gab and the boys are like, this is bogus. Let's go watch the invitational anyway. We can at least get the last round. Mm-hmm. So, oh no. All right, back at the competition, Team 5 Gear is up and they get a 92.
Good job, Team 5 Gear.
Yeah.
We don't really hear about them much.
Nope. So Team X-Blades needs a 96 to win. And Val's like, meh, Brink, you said you're the real deal. You better be a real big guy, whatever, right now. So then Brink goes and he kills it.
Yeah, he drops in the half pipe and he's doing all the tricks. And the announcer's so like, cool. Whoa, he's good.
Yeah, wow, this kid's good. And then the Soul Skaters show up and they're like, whoa, that must be the new kid. He doesn't look Korean. It's because he's not. Gab like recognizes him right away.
Immediately docks it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brink finishes and he got a 97. So the X-Blades win. And Jimmy, the head of X-Blades, comes and he gives Brink the $200 bonus for winning.
Over and gives him $200.
Yep. But then Gab just comes over and shoves Brink over, which he deserves it. But she just shoves him over and yells at him for ditching them for X-Blades. And they're just super pissed at him and they storm out. And Brink wants to go after them, but Val tries to stop him. Like, whoa, you're with us now. But Brink leaves anyway.
Yeah, Brink throws his helmet at him like, no, I'm not losing my friends over this.
Yeah, so then Jimmy says, I think we just lost our fourth man. But Val says, I don't think so.
He's going to come crawling back.
Yep. All right, so then the 3 remaining Soul Skaters talk about trying to find a new 4th member. And they're struggling to come up with someone. And then Brink comes in. He's like, what about me? Can I sit down with you guys? And they're like, sure,
you can sit down with us.
And then as soon as Brink sits down, they get up and leave.
Incredible commitment. Then they say, oh, guys, what if Brink comes sit and say, well, let him sit and then we'll all get up and leave. He'll know how we feel.
Mm-hmm. So this is where it's like we were talking about this They're so justified in being mad at him.
They wouldn't be justified in being this mad at him. They can be justified in being a little mad at him. They wouldn't be this justified if it wasn't for the fact that he like consistently lied to them about it.
He pretended to be sick and told them not to go to the competition so that he could compete with another team. Complete betrayal.
Which is a completely different thing than what the crime would have been otherwise if he told them about it.
Yeah. So
yeah, justified.
Totally justified. Like, he really betrayed their trust. Okay, so Brink's like, come on, I quit Val's team. Val shows up and he's like, wow, you bailed on both teams, but don't worry, I'll be your friend again.
Yeah, he said the difference between me and those so-called friends is I'm willing to be your friend again.
Mm-hmm. They're going nowhere fast, but we got a championship to win. And then Brink grabs the X-Blade's helmet back and he's like, yeah, I'm back. But he's really sad about it. Like, he's like, well, my friends don't want me back, so I guess I'll just keep skating with the X-Blades. That night, it's very clear that Brink is sad, and Dad is now complaining about how unhappy Brink is. And Mom's like, didn't you hate it before when he was too happy? And the Dad's like, I don't know. Now it's weird. I just want him in the middle, I guess. Mom says, why don't you go try and talk to him? And the Dad says, me? Talk to Brink? With words? You know how hard it is for me to have a conversation with him.
Yeah, you can't have dad-son emotional bonding. We're grizzled men.
Katie calls him a moody little sack of hormones.
Again, can you just imagine Brie Larson saying those lines?
And then the mom's like, go talk to him, he needs you. So then Dad goes to talk to Brink on the porch. And he's like, so I haven't seen Peter or Jordy in a while. Why is that? Brink's like, it's just a thing.
It's like a thing where like everything's fine and it is fine, or fine, I don't want to talk about it.
Is everything okay? And Brink's like, I don't want to talk about it. And Dad's like, okay, it's just none of my business.
And he gets up, he starts walking away, he says, stops, dramatic turn.
Except that you're my son and taking care of you is my business. You can tell me or not, but that doesn't change my job description, so I'm here for you. So I like that from the Dad, where it's like, hey, I know something's wrong, and if you don't want to talk about it, I'm not going to press you to tell me, but just know that I am here. So, pretty cool.
Good for him.
This is when the Dad's starting to come around. He was really weird up until now. All right, so we learn that the championship tournament has 3 parts. There's street, vert, and downhill. And right now they're at the downhill course.
Yeah.
It's the X-Blades. They're checking it out. And Brink is like, I'm thinking about how fun it'd be to like skate up on the house and flip over the house.
I was like, fun?
Yeah, fun. This is about winning. And Brink's like, nah, I like having fun. And then the Soul Skaters show up to see the downhill course as well. And Val's like, too bad we're using it. And then Val tells Gab to go back to Mexico, which is very racist.
She's not from Mexico.
No, she's from Peru. And they go, I'll make you a deal. We race for it. And Brink's like, come on, just let them have it. And then Gab says, we can handle it, Brink. Let's race. So then Gab is like, I'm gonna skate for it. And then Val's like, all right, and Brink's gonna go against you. Brink's like, no, I don't want to skate against you. And Pete says, why? You've been doing it already for weeks.
It's got a point.
Yeah, damn. So I guess it's on. Val tells Brink to stay.
Val says outside. He's gonna go ahead. And like mark the finish line.
Yeah, Val's like, I'm gonna go to the finish line, make sure there's no cheating going on. And then he goes over to Brink and he's like, hey, on the outside turn, like on the turn, stay on the outside. And Brink's like, why? We always stay on the inside on the turns. And Val's like, just trust me. And then he goes off. So it's very sus. And then Brink goes over to Gab and is like, please don't do this. And then she says, did you wake up this morning and say, I'm going to talk or I'm going to skate?
Run it right back in his face.
Right back in his face. Time for the race. Gabby says, don't hold back. And then they go. And they're going very fast down the hill. And then Gab jumps a truck to like take the lead, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty baller.
Oh my God, this is so sick, nasty.
Yeah. And then they're skating, and then they hit the turn. So Brink, he knows he was told to stay on the outside. He sees ahead that Val put gravel on the road.
Val went and threw some gravel on the inside of the turn.
Yeah. So Brink is behind Gab at this point. He goes, Gab, go on the outside. And she says, yeah, right. And then she goes into the gravel and she totally wipes out. And it's in slow-mo. But
it's really funny because, they cut to her slow-mo falling and rolling.
It goes on for way too long.
It goes on for like 10 seconds. It's weird.
Yeah, she's just rolling around. Like, they definitely should have cut that down, but whatever. Brink stops racing to go and check on her. And she is scraped up pretty bad. Like, she wiped out hard. Mm-hmm. She was going really fast, and then to trip on gravel, like, that's not good. So then that night, Brink goes over to Gab's house. Pete and Jordy are just leaving, and Brink asks how she is, and they're like, well, she's not dead. And Brink says, this is all my fault. And they say, you got that right.
I mean, it's not all his fault, but they have the right to be mad at him.
Yeah. So then Brink goes over and knocks on the door, and the mom answers, and she's like, oh yeah, Gab's doing fine. Nothing's broken. She just needs to stay in bed for a while. Maybe you should go in and say hello. So then Gabriella is sleeping in her bed, and Brink sits at her bedside, and she wakes up, and he's like, I'm sorry.
It's all my fault.
And Gab says, you were the one who told me about skating from the heart and doing it because you love it. And he says, I needed the money. And she goes, we all need the money. What does that have to do with it? That's how it starts. First you do something you really love, and then you do it for the money, and before you know it, you're just another sellout.
Maybe the friends wouldn't have gotten it if he...
Yeah, maybe not. I think it just especially stings that it's their direct rivals that like give them shit all the time. But yeah. All right. At home, Brink is in the garage, and he's looking at these old skates, and the dad comes in. He's like, what you doing? And Brink's like, I'm looking at my old skates. Like, why did you guys save all of these? And Dad's like, I don't know. We're pack rats.
It's because he likes the memories of them.
Yeah. I remember when you got these, you were 4 or 5 years old. And at the time I thought, oh, I'll get him some roller skates. I like roller skating. And I had no idea that it would take over your whole life.
He really likes skating.
Brink's like, me neither. And then Dad asks how Gabby is.
Brink's like, I didn't tell you about her.
Yeah, but Mom called Jordy's mother. So he's like, you were racing. And the Brink's like, yeah, I didn't listen. I went for the sponsor team, even though you said I shouldn't. And it's because we really needed the money.
Yeah, I wanted to get the money for the fam.
And Dad says, we don't need the money so bad that we needed you to disobey us. And Brink says, I guess it wasn't just for the money either. I wanted to be a part of X-Blades. I wanted to be in all the magazines and just be somebody.
We were talking about when we were watching this, it's kind of a shocking level of self-realization to know that.
Really is. For Brink, he's probably like 16 or 17 years old. Like, the fact that he's willing to recognize this in himself and admit it, like, I thought he really was just like, I need the money, but he's like, no,
the money was an excuse.
A part of me really did just want to be famous and make something of myself for the sport that I love. So it's a really cool moment to see that. Dad says, I get it. I used to love being a construction foreman. I used to love saying, hi, I'm Ralph Brinker. I'm a construction foreman.
Man, he loved doing that.
He loved saying that. He literally says, I loved saying that.
Yeah, I love being a construction foreman. No, not that. I love saying
that, hi, I'm Ralph Brinker and I'm a construction foreman.
And then I got injured. And I can't say it anymore. And that's the only complaint.
Yeah, he says, I used to define myself by my job, but now after 6 months, I finally figured out construction is what I do, not who I am. You are defined by the company you keep and how well you keep it, not just by what happens to you. There's plenty of kids who skate, but you are Andy Brinker. You are a good son and a good friend who just happens to skate. And tomorrow, if you never skate again, you're still Andy Brinker.
Again, life lessons that people need to learn.
This is a good lesson.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. The dad has fully come around for me. Like, he's not being weird anymore.
And I like this is a moment where all the other emotional bonding was like an attempt of the mom push it. The dad, like, pushed this himself.
Yeah. And then the dad asks if Brink is going to compete in the championship this weekend, and Brink says, I'm probably not going to. And the dad says, well, if you do, let me know. I would love to watch you. Like, it sounds fun. So fully supportive now.
Gave a lot of thought into it. Didn't get mad at the fact that he tried out for the sponsor team.
Nope. He said, I know you love it. Like, I want to support you. All right. So now it's a new day. X-Blades team, they're eating out on the pier, like a little restaurant, whatever. Brink comes in and drops his skates right on their cheese pizza.
Yeah, giant pizza, middle of the table. He throws the skates and it lands on the pizza. Not directly on it, thank God. But
it was like right there.
There's a lot of innocent bystanders to this, Brink. Don't waste their pizza.
I know.
Poor pizza.
And he says, there's your skates. I'm through. Also, here's your helmet. And I gave you all the clothes back, except I accidentally threw them in the garbage across the street.
Bang.
Damn. And Val's like, is this about your little friend? And Brink's like, you put gravel in the road. You could have killed her.
It's true.
You jackass. Yeah, I know. Val's an asshole. And Val's like, hey, I have the brains.
You weren't even smart enough to finish the race.
Yeah, you never finish the race when someone's hurt. And then Brink's like, fuck you. And he grabs a milkshake and he throws it right in Val's face. It goes everywhere. It was a very thin milkshake.
I like to keep track about all of the goopings. I think this may be like the biggest goop
one of the goopiest goops.
Where it's just covered and it's so much.
It was like a milkshake that had been sitting out and melted. Like it gets everywhere. Oh my gosh. It was directly in his face.
Yeah.
And then Val's about to beat Brink up, but Boomer steps in the way.
He breaks them up.
And Val says, you turning on me, Boomer? And Brink's like, you're no fun to skate with, Val. And if you got beef with me, then you can take it up with me Sunday at the championship. And Val says, oh, we'll get it on for sure. And then Brink and Boomer leave because Boomer's cool now. Boomer's like, Brink stood up for me when I got hurt.
Boomer's like, I'm jumping ship.
Val is no fun to skate with. I'm fully on Team Brink now.
Also, Brink does not have a team for the championship, but
also,
whatever.
Boomer is still hurt. I thought maybe we get a little side plot of Brink and Boomer starting a new team, but Boomer's still hurt. So he's just there to be a supportive friend to Brink now. All right. Now back at the skate park, Gab tells Jordy that he needs more air. She's kind of like coaching them while she's still injured. She has like a little sling and she can't skate until the weekend, but she can skate on the weekend, so she will be able to do the championship.
Yeah.
Jordy's like, what's even the point? We don't have a fourth member. And Pete goes, because it's supposed to be fun. Now let's skate.
It is an emotion that I've gotten so many times before when you're doing something that it's like a hobby of yours and you're enjoying. You typically enjoy it, but it's not being fun at all.
Yeah.
You're like, this is fun.
I'm supposed to be having fun right now. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
It's really funny, actually. And then
he wipes out.
Pete wipes out with a little like ka-shing like sound effect. It was so random. Like a sword. Ka-shing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Sometimes sound effects are silly. So they go check on Pete. And the wheels completely came off his rollerblade. So they're like, oh, great. Now I don't even have a rollerblade. And then Brink shows up and he says, you guys ever think about getting a sponsor? And they say, sponsors are no fun. And Brink says, depends on the sponsor. And then he throws them a t-shirt that has a little dog grooming logo on it. It's
Pup and Suds.
Pup and Suds.
You remember Pup and Suds, his job?
Yeah.
I don't blame you for forgetting about it. They've mentioned it for like 20 seconds.
Benji literally said that is never going to come back. And it fully came back.
Yeah, no, it does.
So movie got you there. So he throws him a t-shirt and Jordy says, thanks, but we already have shirts. And Brink says, how about skates? And then he has a bag just full of brand new rollerblades.
So everyone's excited about that.
Yeah, and Brink's like, I got paid in advance at the dog groomers, and they're like, how far in advance? And he says, about 4 months. But then he's like, here you go. Hey, good luck on Sunday. And then Brink starts to walk away. He's like, I'm not here.
Turns around.
I'm not here to join your team, I promise. But then Gab says, hold on. Did you really throw that vanilla shake in Val's face? And Brink says, chocolate.
I like chocolate.
It was a chocolate shake. And she says, how did it feel? And he said, it was cool and it was sweet.
And he's back. The Labrador Retriever is back.
He's back.
And then he's back on the team.
He's back on the team. They let him back in. Hooray, they're friends
again.
They
got bought.
Yeah. All
Friendship is bought.
So now it's time for the championship.
Woo.
The trophy is a big silver rollerblade. So apparently this is a call out to the book.
Yep.
Which is fun. And the Soul Skaters are there, who are now Team Pup and Suds. And they're like, remember, we're here for fun. And then Val shows up and makes fun of their sponsor. He's like, oh, Pup and Suds. Man, you guys are stupid.
Dog groomers? We're X-Blades.
We're X-Blades. And then as they're leaving, Val, like, touches Brink's face. Like, see you out there.
Their relationship through this movie is enemies to enemies to enemies, but there's gotta be a lover somewhere in there.
Val is just so in love with him.
They go from standard enemies to teammates who are enemies to standard enemies.
I don't think Brink ever really loves Val. Val would have definitely had to have some character growth for that to happen,
yep. And they
that
decide
never
not
happens.
to, and they don't half-ass it at the end or anything, so it's cool.
No, Val stays evil the whole time, which is totally fine because honestly, in a lot of DCOMs,
it's not earned when they try and make the villain redeemed.
Exactly.
Cloud9 be like,
we'll get there when we talk about Cloud9. All right. So now we see some rollerblading. I swear they show a lot of the competition. They show a lot of the scores.
Yeah.
And
they show a lot of people skating.
Yeah. I didn't keep track of every score they showed, but I'm sure they just like wanted it to check out of like, oh yeah, these are how the scores played out against each other.
So this first one's the street category.
Yes.
There's 3 categories. Basically the first one is the street. That's where you kind of have just like a skate park and you do whatever you want. You get tricks on it.
Yeah.
Then you get
well, let's start with that.
Okay.
Let's start with street. So Gabriella goes and the announcers are like, she has some nice style, and she gets a 93. And then Val goes and they're like, oh yeah, this is Val. He's cool. He does a ton of big tricks and he gets a 98. And then Brink goes, he kills it. Obviously, announcer says he's very creative. And then he messes up a little bit. He like falls once, but then he gets like extra creative with the 20 seconds remaining and he gets an 89.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool that they're like, you know, even Brink can mess up. He's not completely carrying the team, you know? So in between that like runs, Brink says hi to his mom and Katie and he's like, where's dad? And we learn that the dad got called to the construction site to talk about something. And we're going to find out if it's good or bad news. And Katie's like, you should skate better.
Brink's like, oh, that's great advice.
Oh, skate better? Oh, why didn't I
You're really
think
good
of
at
that?
giving advice.
Yeah. And then we get another very vibey, slow montage where the music's just like chill. Bam, 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 bam.
I don't remember the music we've seen.
Yeah, it's just like the vibe, the tone totally changes and it's just kind of weird. Peter gets a 96 and Jordy gets a 97.
Yeah, good for them. Something I like in this is Brink. The whole movie is like labeled as the best one of them. He does the worst in this section.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like the team is picking up the slack. He's not carrying them. It's not like, oh, he's the savior. They're all schmucks. No, they're good.
So then they're doing good. Brink tells Pete, like, hey, you need a sweet 540 out of you. Dad finally makes it back. And guess what? He got his job back. Woohoo. And Brink like sees his dad right before he's up and he waves to him. And so he knows that he got good news. And it's all good. So now Brink's up and he just absolutely kills it. I think they're on the inverted now.
Yeah, they're on the vert ramp, which is just basically a giant half pipe.
Yep.
Where you do tricks and that. And I should mention the third one now, because only the top two after the first few rounds get to compete in it.
Yeah.
And X-Blades, even though the scores don't really make sense for it, X-Blades is basically guaranteed in this top two. Because I think they must have done so well on street, but the difference between everyone doesn't really make sense for that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whereas after the first round, Team Pup and Suds was in fourth. And now because Brink did well and everyone else is doing well, they have a chance, but they need other people to fuck up.
Yeah. So Brink kills it. Boomer is in the crowd. He's cheering for Brink, so that's fun. And Brink got a 98. So Team Pup and Suds has a chance to make to the final round. Now Val is up. You know, he does his stuff. He gets a 97. And then we get new music that's very dramatic. And it's just skating and scores. Like, they cut the audio out.
Yeah.
Like the real life audio of like the skating in the crowd. They cut that out for some very dramatic music. So it, again, is just a little weird, but then they cut the audio back in, and Team G-Force is up, and they've been doing really good.
They're in second, right?
Yeah, so, you know, Team Pop and Suds is like, oh, they're doing good. Looks like we're probably out in the final. But then the G-Force guy wipes out, which is sad that I think he got hurt.
Yeah, he was not moving for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But then he got up and he was completely okay.
So they're like, oh, Pup and Suds has a chance. They
just need Pete to do well.
Pete just needs to do well. So Pete's up, and oh my god, he does the 540, an inverted 540.
It's right at the end of his whole routine.
Yeah.
And it does like a backflip mixed with a 540. It's cool.
Yeah.
He does well. And yeah, believe it or not, this children's sports movie is going to have the final battle between the rivals and the good guys.
Yeah. So Pete, he got a 98. That means they qualified. He does a little dance. He's having fun. He's feeling himself.
Everyone's remembering it's fun to be a soul skater.
Yeah. So now it's down to the final downhill race between X-Blades and Pup and Suds. Brink is obviously racing for Pup and Suds, and Val is obviously racing for X-Blades.
There's no way this movie could have ended.
Yeah. So Brink goes over to his team and he's like, hey guys, win or lose, skating is what we do, not who we are.
Oh my god, my dad said that.
Oh my god, good luck, Brink. And then Val talks shit, but also feels very flirty.
Yeah, they start going up towards each other and like talking real intense about each other. The ESPN cameras are filming it, which is wild. ESPN's here, by the way. That part's not that wild because this is like apparently a big competition. Sure. What is wild is that ESPN's filming this and they're getting this incredible drama. It feels like Challengers, the movie, just like playing out at a small scale. I'd be like, if I was a journalist watching this right, I'm like, I need to know.
I need to know what's happening. Let me go interview all the kids at school.
Be incredible drama.
Okay. Brink says, win or lose, at least I'm not you. And then they're like getting ready to go and they're at the starting line and they look at each other in slow motion before it starts and they're so close to each other. Like, it's so intense. Go. Time for the race. And they're neck and neck. They're going 42.5 miles per hour going downhill, which is a new course record.
That's fast.
And they're right next to each other. And then Brink just pulls ahead, but then Brink falls down and Val's ahead, so he has to catch up to Val.
But that's really no issue, apparently.
Yeah, and then the camera's cut out because it's a blind turn, which is ridiculous that there's a blind turn on this course.
I feel like they should have solved that issue or had a referee there, because instead Val knows this and he decides to just punch Brink.
He just starts shoving and punching Brink. It's absolutely ridiculous. He totally just shoves him over. And then Val, like, they like get across the turn and Val goes for another swing of his arm, but Brink like ducks and dodges and Val wipes out. And of course, just like Brink, instead of continuing the race, he turns back to check on Val, who totally wiped out in some hay bales.
And Val's lying on his back and he's like,
Brink, oh,
Save me.
Brink, is that you? And Brink is there. He's like, are you okay? And Val says, you never did have the guts to finish a race when someone was down. And Brink says, nope. And then Val says, that's what I was counting on.
Grabs his arm, pulls him to the ground.
Pulls him down and goes and skates out. And Brink's like, damn it. And you hear the cameraman go, I got it all.
Again, what incredible drama.
It's so good.
Also, yeah, there's so much blatant cheating in this.
Yeah.
That we're going to ignore the fact that Brink's about to blatantly cheat.
So Val is up ahead and Brink like cuts through the alley to take a shortcut. Mm-hmm. Which, how is this not cheating? Yeah. How is this not cheating?
It is.
He went off course.
But whatever.
You can't just take shortcuts. This isn't Mario Kart.
No, it's not.
But whatever. He's caught up. They're neck and neck. It's just a full sprint at the end. And Brink wins. Team Pup and Suds wins. And so the camera caught everything. Nobody cares that Brink cut through the alley. They think it's just sick because Val is just so clearly a cheater. Everyone is celebrating Brink. They're like, yay, Brink. And at the same time, the crowd is yelling at Val, like, cheater, cheater,
cheater. They all hate him. Yeah. Lovely. This conclusion goes so fast.
But it's so good that, like, even if Val had somehow crossed the finish line first, no one would have liked it. So it's cool. Everyone just celebrates Brink. He hugs his family. Val storms off, and that's the last we see of him. So bye, Val. No redemption for you. The other X-Blades teammates go up to Brink and they're like, hey, Brink, sorry. We didn't know Val would do something like that. And Brink goes, hey, guys, it's okay. You didn't know. You didn't know he would do that. Brink, it's okay.
Brink, I feel like you should be like, hey, I knew he was shit the whole time. You guys should have known.
He's just so on top of the world right now that, like, it literally doesn't matter. But it's just Brink's attitude is always so happy. And then Mr. Manager of X-Blades comes up and says, hey, man, Val is out. He's a cheater. We hate him. You're in, Brink. And Brink's like, what? You want me to be the captain of X-Blades?
Yo.
What? And they're like, yeah, man.
By the way, side note, kicking Val out, well, I completely get it. Someone's going to find a very, very good skater that you could just, not do in the downhill section, the only section he's actually cheated in.
This is just like motocross when they like recruit the cheater French guy.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's right there, He's gonna go to France and he's gonna go skate for them.
Okay, so they're like, yeah, man, we want you to be the captain of the X-Blades. And Brink says, I was on the X-Blades team once and it wasn't very fun, so sorry, man, I'll see you around.
Bye-bye. Here's my trophy.
Which, like, why would he leave the team that he literally just won with? Because, I guess, for money and sponsors and stuff. But anyway, Brink celebrates with his team, and they get the trophy, and he says, Soul Skaters, nothing we can't do. And then they hoist Brink up, and they're all celebrating, and then it freeze frames on his face. The end. I wish he would have passed the trophy around a little bit more because he really couldn't have done it without his team, but it's okay.
It's okay. Whatever. It's the movie's called Brink. The movie's not called Soul Skaters.
Come on, Brink.
The movie's not called Team Pup and Suds.
Come on, Brink.
Kind of a banger.
Yeah, that song plays in the credits.
And that's the movie.
And that's the whole movie. So, back when we watched this for the first time, I didn't like it very much. I don't know why. I thought it was boring. So I was interested in watching it again. Mm-hmm. And now that we've watched it again, I was like, yeah, this movie was a lot better than I was giving it credit for. It was pretty fun, actually.
I liked it a lot on our first watch. I had it mid A tier, and I think that's exactly where I still have it.
Wow, that's pretty high.
I'm a sucker for a sports movie.
Yeah, you do love sports movies.
And this is the bar for a DCOM sports movie.
I think I just really love Brink as a character. I love his attitude in the beginning, how he's always so supportive, and then he has his internal struggles. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of self-awareness. He's just one of those kind of hero characters, that also has flaws. Val is a fun villain who's just clearly in love with Brink.
There's a fun vibe to the movie the whole way through.
Yeah. For sure.
It's got a good beat to it. and it's not a hard watch at all.
No, it was good. Final Jank House ranking.
This has got to be one of the ones that in our initial ranking list we had the most disagreements on.
Yeah, the final Jank House ranking was 39. Benji, you have it up at 29, and I have it lower at 59. Again, I had it too low before. It's in my C tier, like mid C tier. I think re-ranking, I could pretty comfortably put it in B tier.
And I can accept that. I'm not gonna push you too much, but yeah, that's got to be one of the ones that we've had most of the disagreements on going into it, and now we're definitely a lot closer.
Yeah, like I could definitely bump it up. So, which I mean, the house ranking was right pretty much in the middle of what we said. Yeah, so that's probably pretty accurate.
We never said it was a bad movie.
No. That's
Brink.
That is Brink. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any thoughts on Brink, you can email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com or reach out other ways.
If you want to know what movie we're going to be watching next, listen.
Oh my God, stay tuned. First, we like to predict what we think it's going to be.
Yes, and if we get it right, we get a huge prize.
It's $1.
It's $1.
It's happened before, though. A couple times.
I think it's going to be Upside Down Magic.
Oh, that's a fun one. I think getting a more recent one would be good. Not that this is super recent, but I'm going to say Minutemen.
Okay.
I freaking love Minutemen.
Minutemen kind of goes hard.
I know. All right, let's spin the wheel.
What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
All right. You don't want to know what it is?
What is it?
You gotta kick it up.
You
just gotta kick it up.
You absolutely have to kick it up.
It's not a recent one, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I like this one.
It is certainly a movie.
It's sports in a way.
It's sports. It's a sports movie.
It's a dancing competition, so might as well.
I would count this as a sporty movie.
It's like a team sport kind of vibe. I just feel like dancing isn't actually a sport, it's a performance, but there is competitions for it. So yeah. All right, cool. Tune in 2 weeks to hear us talk about Gotta Kick It Up. Miss America Ferrera herself is in that one.
All right. Stay tuned.
Goodbye. Scenes from our next episode.
Oh my God, let's start dancing in the middle of the class.
Oh my God. Oh, school is lame. Let's dance.
Let's dance. Hi, I'm America Ferrera. I'm the person who said the woman monologue from Barbie, and that's why I got nominated for an Oscar.
But right now, I'm young and I like to dance.
And you're watching the Disney Channel.
I'm a teacher and I used to be a dancer, but I'm not anymore.
Our school's so poor, but we need money to dance.
I just love to dance. Fine, I'll be your teacher because I used to dance. But you have to follow my rules.
Or else you can't dance.
Dance.
I'm now Jennifer Coolidge.
Dance. Makes you want a hot dog real bad.
Thanks for watching.
Tune in for the dance.
She's not in this movie.